it's been a weird journey with this podcast,
Okay.
because it kind of first started off with like um, mental health and stuff,
Mm,
like because I kind of started around the COVID era,
okay.
and so now that we've kind of moved out of that, I'm glad to have people like you, come into the show. Riot, fucking had Be Wild or Lightsaber. I've had Dread on the podcast,
Yeah.
Beast, obviously, um, and kind of talk about other stuff too. Because I always tell people I have really cool friends who do really cool shit,
Yeah.
and I get to meet really cool people like you. You know what I mean? So
I
again,
appreciate that.
thank you so much for being on
No,
the
thank you
show.
for having me on the show. Honestly,
Mhm.
just I'm excited. I'm hyped.
Hell yeah. Yo, so I honestly don't think we've ever had an honest conversation like
I'm,
in Crump. I've been around you definitely,
yeah.
um, but never had an honest conversation from you. You're in Buffalo now, but are you from Toronto? Because I know you said that you had a meeting with Toronto.
Yeah. I'm from Toronto. Where I'm currently in Toronto,
Oh,
but everybody always has like um different origins of like where I'm from. Like I remember Miho was like, I was looking for you all over Cali, and I was like, I literally go there like maybe once a year. And he was like, I thought you were from out here. I was like, I was looking out for you and everything. And I was like, nope. And then like a lot of people think I'm from the East Coast. Yeah, I just had a bunch. I have a bunch of different like origin like locations. And no, I'm just from Toronto. I carry Toronto on my back everywhere I go. It's a small community, but I love it here. I love it.
yeah, repping the six. Let's go.
That's a
Oh
fact.
my
Wait,
god. And so who got you into Crump, or what got you started? What got you interested in the movement?
um, I feel like me and Rex say this all the time. Like Crump finds you. Like I feel like
Hmm.
sometimes you see the dance and you're like, this is it. Like something about this is like where I belong.
Hmm.
So I think I was in high school, like senior year, and yeah, I was part of a dance crew already, but I was doing like dance hall and hip hop and like jerking and all these styles that were fun, but every time I did hip hop, I was
So
kind
we're talking like 20. I don't want to like age blast you, but like, so we're talking 2010 era,
of
2011.
yeah, yeah,
Okay, okay, okay,
like 2000, 2009,
okay.
2010. Um, and and some of the guys from the crew, brought Crump into one of the practices, and they were just like trying to mimic it off of Rise and like the DVDs. And I was like, you gotta teach me. And when I was doing hip hop, I was always doing this like aggressive form of hip hop where I felt like, you know, it was always attack. It felt like, I didn't want to do the party stuff.
Hmm.
I wanted to like get in people's faces. And so when I saw Crump, I was like, this makes more sense for me. And so I try to stay around it as much as possible. I graduated like that year, and then I had to like find dance outside of school. And so I was searching, and then I found the Crump community out here, and that's kind of been like where my story started with Crump. It was just like a small community out here, and then I kept training, and then I started traveling. My first out of like city battle was in Texas at the
Ooh.
Res, and I battled Einstein. It was like
Hmm.
a rank battle. So I was girl crems at the time. She was under outrage, and that kind of like built up, the little interest of where I guess at the time I was Fern Gully.
Mm.
Yeah, people just kind of started paying attention. I will say though, um, I'm from Toronto, but Buffalo is an hour away, an hour and a half. And I think a lot of how I dance is because like East Coast crump raised my crump.
Mm.
So there, I'll say it all the time. Like East Coast has such a indescribable feeling. Like their essence is one of my favorites out of all the coasts. And I think that's where a lot of my energy and my essence from crump came from. So I definitely I definitely owe a lot of my growth to like Buffalo and that East Coast energy, that East Coast vibe.
Shout out Buffalo. Let's go.
Facts. Yeah, we're taking our little day trips back and forth, and
Yeah, I would hear that from friends I had who were like from the Buffalo area, like outside of Crump. They were always like, it's not really a border that separates us, it's the neighborhoods. So you
yeah,
can be just on the other side of this neighborhood, still in the like Buffalo area, but they're
mhm,
going to call you from Toronto because you're from over there type shit. And
right, right.
yeah, there's a couple cities in Cali where I'm from. It's
Mm,
like, yeah, you might be on this side of the tracks. It's Oxnard, but that's Port Hueneme, bro. Or if you're on this
mhm.
side, now you're in Camarillo. So it's like,
And it's
doesn't really
very
matter.
distinctive. Like y'all make sure you keep it
Hmm.
very,
Yeah, try
very
like you
you know.
try to keep it as separate as possible. You
Mm,
know what I mean? But I think like even like how you were saying, like there's some of us who lean because like I'm 30 minutes from North Hollywood.
okay.
And so that's where my crump started.
Mm,
But I'm Oxnard all day. Like anyone who
yeah,
ever knows me in
okay,
crump,
okay.
it's Oxnard all day, baby. But the 818 birthed me. You know, I was going out there with Dread. And I remember the 818s were like kind of small. And then it kind of had this rebirthing around the 2016, 2017 time. Cause that's kind of like when I got into crump and stuff.
Okay.
So that's cool to hear like how you've allowed, these other places to kind of like really influence you and like
Mhm.
speak to you in a certain way, because
Oh, 100%.
that's what it's all about, right? Like that's
Yeah,
why we're a part of this community is to
yeah,
be a part of it.
yeah. No, that's a fact. It's Buffalo will like always hold a special place in my heart. Like regardless, my husband's from there, but even beside that fact, like it's really like where my crump felt nourished. It felt like this makes sense. Like this this feeling makes sense. And so yeah, that's why a lot of people like when they see me dance, they're like, I don't see that in Toronto. And I'm like, it's I try to bring Toronto everywhere and I have my Toronto essence in there too. But all this that that big bad wolf stuff that
Hmm.
I carry, that attack energy, I saw it in on the East Coast, and it's just something that I was so drawn to because I'm like that too. As a person, I'm very like I'm hot headed. Like I try not to jump the gun, but I'm always just like what did you say? Like
Hmm.
what? So I think it was familiar to me and it like resonated with me that I was just like, oh, okay. So it is okay to bring this aspect into crump. Whereas like here it was more dance focused and the character was not really um
Them.
it wasn't it wasn't the main focus. Like
Hmm.
I almost felt hesitant to bring out character out here, but then like in Buffalo, I was like, oh, I can really just like let that out type shit.
We in the neighborhood now.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Yeah, we in the neighborhood. I love that. I love that so much.
Yeah.
Um, and even when I first, because I was definitely one of those people where I wasn't ever in, like, though I've been to New York a few times,
Mm,
I've never been there enough to where I could really separate. Like I knew Buffalo was in New York, so I had this mentality that them and New York City heads were like all the same. Like, oh, these people
yeah.
are just. But then I realized it's like, bro, that's comparing people from San Francisco and the Bay to LA heads, and then
Yeah,
LA heads to the people down in Oside and San Diego, Temecula area. Like,
right,
shout out to IE. Like, all those boys are they're just so different. They all behave so
right,
differently.
right.
Yeah, that's why I stick to Oxnard. It's like, love you guys, but I'm over here.
But yeah, no.
Um,
Yeah, no,
uh,
it makes a big difference, like just like culturally too. Montreal, everyone thinks Montreal and Toronto are like just Canada crump, but we're 6 hours away from each other. Like a totally different mindset, totally different. Like we have different upbringings, different atmospheres around us. It's not the same. Like at one point, we were like Toronto and Montreal were beefing like all the time. So it's funny when people be like, "Oh, you know Taminator," and I'm like, "Yeah, but we're not in this. We're not even in the same community, like
mm,
in terms of city. But as a whole, yeah, like you could say Canada crump because we don't have a lot of crumpers in comparison to the states. But it's funny how like every time I battle, everyone's like Canada, and I'm like, you know what? Next time you battle, I'm gonna be like USA.
yeah.
Everyone was so specific. They'd be like, no, like East or Midwest and whatnot, or like Chicago or Ohio's in the house, and like they're so specific about it. But then when we get up there, it's like Canada, and I'm like, we're general. So I'm trying to like make people aware of that. That like when you see me, you see Toronto. Like you don't see
Mm,
Canada because there's different communities out here.
yeah, and I was one of those kids who paid attention in like US history and geography class.
Yeah,
So I could
yeah,
point to a lot of cities in the US, but Canada, I could not fucking not to save my life, I could not tell you where Montreal or
that's
does
fair too. That's fair. I don't. I feel like the U.S. don't really care about anyone but themselves as a country. Like,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, like
this is us, and Canada.
facts.
Just we're in igloos and stuff. Like,
Yeah, people think that everyone up there is Eskimos or some other
yeah,
wild shit, dude.
everybody's like, so like, do you live in an igloo? And I was like, are y'all okay over there?
I'm sorry, and I am, but I am. I just really, I mean, still, I can't even put all the states in the right place. But it's like, oh, like,
Yeah,
you
I'm
know,
learning too.
I know North Carolina's on the East Coast, dude, and I know California's on the other side in Oregon. But, gee, no,
Right.
dude, Saskatchewan, Canada, where's that, bro? I mean,
Actually, I couldn't even tell you honestly.
I
I
just know
think
it's a
it's
real
somewhere in
place.
the middle. I think it's somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I don't know. I
No,
know
yeah,
my U.S. geography through Crump though. Like,
from traveling
if
around.
I hear California outside of Crump, I'd be like West. Like I'm so familiar with places because of Crump, and I'd be like, oh, that's Midwest. Okay, I know where that is. I have a good sense of where that is. So I think it's funny that like Crump kind of educated me on things outside of the dance. But I think it's
Yeah.
great.
That's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing to like. I remember even talking with Tomb and Childish about like being able to travel with Crump. It's like this thing that like you said, and it's beautiful because I've said something similar, but like just with dance is dance found me. It found me, and then I started dancing, and then it found me again, and I started doing choreography, and then it found me again, and then I started crumping, and then I know it's going to find me again, and I'm going to be doing something, whether it's in crump all over again or
Mhm.
over here or over there, but like it just there's always this consistent like I think what we call like the reinventing. I just think like this thing is speaking to us all over again, that's calling
Yeah,
us to move a certain way, you know what I mean? And that itself has led us to travel. It's led us to meet fucking cool ass people,
well, that's
people
a
from
fact.
different walks of life,
That's a
and that's dope. And one thing definitely, because a couple of people that I've messaged about this, I was like, dude, I'm excited to talk to her because you are I don't want to say outspoken, but you are vocal when there is shit that comes about.
I am. I
And
am.
I love it. I
It gets
love
me
it.
in trouble more than anything. I think I've definitely learned, and sorry to cut you off, I definitely learned as a woman, like a lot of people would just rather you shut up. Like
Mm,
just don't say anything. Um, just over the years I've seen like how much support I had, and then like slowly trying to advocate for, women and dancers in general. I've seen like that kind of fall out.
mhm,
And I'm sure there's like other factors in there that are, completely normal, and, people just not even fall out, but just organically lose touch a little bit more than they used to.
mm,
But it's definitely been like an interesting journey of like finding my voice, and trying to figure out where I can have a say and where I need to like kind of sit out and be like, this isn't for me. I'm gonna sit this one out and let the people that should have this conversation have this conversation. So
ooh,
yeah, it's listen. Not only am I like I have there's layers to privilege, and I know as a white person that is my privilege. As a woman, that's where I fall into more of the minority category in Crump. But having to realize that and navigate it is really where I don't take that shit lightly. I feel I can advocate for women, and then realize that as a white woman, I'm gonna seem different than as the black women in Crump. And I can see how sometimes my privilege will completely blind me off of like, oh, just work hard. And it's like, that's not how that goes. So, um, yeah, over the years, like I said, I advocate where I feel like my voice is needed, but I also know like when to fall back and just be like, this is not my conversation to be in, and just support wherever I can.
wow, wow, that was a fucking mouthful.
It's
Whoa, so let's do this step by step
yeah,
then.
you said like I said, it's layers. It's really layers to this shit. Like, sorry, I can curse? I don't
Oh,
know.
absolute, dude. I'm smoking, and if I had beer, I'd probably be drinking right now. So yes,
I didn't know what type of time we were on. So
we on it. We on it, knives.
okay, perfect, perfect. But yeah, like there's layers to this shit. Like and me being in something that like black culture birthed, like
Absolutely.
we got to be real about these things. Like you can't just go around saying whatever the hell you want when you want, and like step on people to just feel like I deserve to be here. Like, no, you are a guest. Let's remember that. I remember that offended a bunch of people, like me calling myself a guest, but it doesn't take away from anything I've done in Crump. I don't think so. So
Hmm. And I don't also want to attribute any of your successes to it either, because yes, though you may have certain privileges because of your birth, right? Because you hold a certain race or complexion of skin, whatever. I don't want to solely attribute that to your success in a black created and dominated space. Like we got to be
mhm,
real about that.
yeah,
And I understand also, and it's fucking very admirable to hear you say like, that you do have you acknowledge certain privilege that you hold in your life, and that's admirable as fuck. And your success is also very admirable because you are a woman in a male dominated space. And I know that was one thing I told people. I was like, she is a female, and not only a female dancer but good at it, and her
I
style
appreciate it.
is buck to me. Like you almost remind me of like, because there was a choreographer by the name of Rihata, and she would wear a bandana over her head with a hat on, just similar like how you do.
Yeah,
And when I first saw you, I was like, oh my god, she reminds me of Rihata.
that's good.
And Ree had this gangster style, like how she would dance in her choreography, and she would always dance to like Eve and Little Kim, and I was like, oh
Yeah,
my god, she was just
I think
so.
I know who you're talking about too. Like she's starting to come up.
Oh, I'll send you a link. She's so fucking awesome. Anybody who watches this, look up Rihata. Shout out. But and so I was like, so I've always just been curious, right? So especially on this whole thing of like being like, let's start off with something that's a little more easier, I guess, for you that you can go hard on is being a female, right? Woman, whatever, right? Like however you want to paint that word,
Right.
bro. You in this community, male dominated space, like what are things that you're hoping to see change so that you guys not only, because you know we've been dealing with some stuff these past few days,
Yeah.
that you that you guys not only feel safe, but
Yeah.
that you guys also feel safe to say, hey, I can challenge this status quo here. Like you dudes are winning these tournaments. Like, no, we're about to step in and
Yeah.
start winning these tournaments or booking these gigs or
Yeah.
whatnot. Like, what is something that you feel should be brought to the table on that?
Um, Honestly, it's simple shit. I think give credit where it's due.
Mm,
I've been hearing this narrative that every event, women are literally like holding it. Like women are holding events on their backs. Like they're labbing, they're coming out with like really good quality shit and it's entertaining. So I still am confused as to why we keep hearing like, oh, the women did their shit tonight. The women like had battle of the night. Women did this, women did that. And like there's still so many men on flyers. And it's the it's the whole, getting paid is another thing. I think me being in it as long as I have, I still feel kind of like, oh, I don't know if I want to if I should get paid. Like I don't know if I'm asking for too much. I feel event coordinators and dancers should meet in the middle, and if I give you a price, instead of being like that's too much, you're not worth that, just respectfully decline. If you
mm-hmm,
think somebody is not worth their booking fee, decline it. Hope that everyone else that they get in touch with declines it so that they can reflect on that. But
mm-hmm,
telling someone this shouldn't be your price, I don't think people get a say in that.
mm-hmm,
I think when people hit enough walls, like, damn, I'm not worth $2,000. Maybe I need to reconsider, like, why is nobody booking me? You know what I mean? So
absolutely.
I think women have a harder time getting booked, and when they do get booked, getting paid. I
Mm,
think I would love to see that change. Um, and in terms of just being heard, I think I have dealt with a lot of opinionated people, men specifically, and obviously I've had pushback from women, but it's obviously been more men. I think just being heard and being trusted to be a leader is something I really want to be shifted in this, not only in this community, in every community. But I think the new gen leaders are doing an amazing job at kind of navigating the shift and giving women more platforms. So I think we're in the right direction. Like we don't want to push too hard to where, things just fall apart. I think it's moving in a steady direction, and I think things are changing to what they need to be.
oh, yes. Yeah, I would love to see some of the people's W-2s, who be getting booked for these events. I'd love to see your W-2, motherfucker,
Yeah,
because
yeah, yeah.
there's been some dudes who I know get killed the fuck off, and it's like, bro, I know you got paid to be there, dog.
Right,
Like,
right. It's not even just like being there. Like it's prepping for your rounds. It's the stress of like knowing like, damn it, I might get one round. Like I don't want to get one rounded. Like there's a stress that you carry building up to the event. And I'm just speaking for myself because like I take this shit serious. Like I love battling. So to me, like I get super hype. I get super like anxious. It's also the promotion. Like you're asking me to promote your event like that, but I'm not being paid. So it's like, yes, I'll promote my flyer, but that's as much as you're gonna get from me because it takes some time. It takes some time, it takes energy, going live, talking about it. I can do all this stuff, yes, but it's like again, like I'm did you hire me or am I just doing this out of, the out of like the kindness of my heart? I'm a
Mm-hmm.
negotiator. I negotiate. Like I'm not the type to be like, oh, you can't give me all my needs. I'm out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm never been. I've never shied away from negotiating and be like, if you can get my flight and per diem, I'll be there. If you can take me from point A to point B, I'll be there. But some people like I don't want it to be that. I want people to be ready with bare minimum booking stuff. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's not it's normalized in the states but it's not like that everywhere else, like outside of the states, me being booked, everything's like everything's there, like I'm accommodated, like they're they're like we want you and we're gonna show you that we want you here.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't got to worry about like where am I staying at, who's driving me, like how am I going to get to the event, do I have money for food when I'm out there? It's there without me asking, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I get that event planners in the states, some don't have that funding, but it's maybe that's the reality check of like either save up or do a more local event.
Ooh,
You
that
know,
is true.
there's I believe there's ways to there's tiers to events. Like if you have the budget that you really want to spend, it's going to be an event that people fly in for. If you have $500, you can make something happen, but you should expect a more local turnout because you're not investing enough for people to invest in you. You know what I
Mm,
mean? It should be reciprocated. I feel like
absolutely.
if you're putting in bare minimum, why get mad at people for not flying out, from across the country to, spend more money, because it's Airbnb, car rental, all of that. They're spending a lot of money and you did not put in, you probably put in just as much as they did for that weekend on your whole event. So it's like the
Ooh.
reciprocation has to be like there. It's got to be worth it for me to travel and get on a plane. You know,
Talk your shit. Nice. Let's fucking go.
I'm just
It's
saying.
the truth.
Like,
It's the truth. It's the truth.
I don't. I plan events. I plan local events because I know my budget. I know that I'm not willing to spend more than 1K on an event right now. I feel like that's just not where I'm at,
Mm-hmm.
like personally. So for me, I'm not gonna promote and be like fly out to my event because it's gonna be small. It's not gonna have the talent that's worth flying out for in terms of heavy hitters and entertainment. There are dancers who are gonna show out and they're gonna entertain the hell out of the room, but it's not a guarantee. Whereas somebody like Slam or Rex or Bruiser, they're not hit or miss. They're always going to be hits,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if you have someone like that at your event, people are gonna be like, I'm gonna be entertained. There's a that's a no brainer. So I'm gonna go there. But I think people just got to be a little realistic about what type of event you're throwing. Is it local? Is it more coastal? Or is it something that everyone around the world should fly out for?
Yeah, I think we have kind of lost sense of inside of our community, and it was something I liked that WAD did. It was that they began to have regional and then a national competitions when it started off as just a local event
Hmm.
that people would go to.
and that's the beauty of it. It can always grow.
Absolutely. And people, I think, especially for the young heads, because it is a bar. Like some of my favorite events the past 5-6 years have all been thrown by women. And so that needs to be taken note, you know. And I might not always agree with Val, but Val, I love you for the events you've thrown, and some of your fucking takes are hilarious. Like,
No, honestly, Val, first off, bring back the dirty. I actually won the
yes,
women's tournament for that, so bring it
gang.
back so I can defend my title. Um, but yeah, like I think I think a lot of the times there's also roles. Like you got to understand your role. Are you the dancer? Are you the event planner? Can you do both? Some people can, some people can't. It's too much. So being able to be real with each other like that, I think will help the community as well.
Mm-hmm. Not allowing their aspirations to blind them to what their path may actually be too.
Facts.
Your
That's
path
the
might
way.
not, you know, your path might not be to throw a national event,
Mm-hmm.
but your path may be that you are the local every Wednesday, Thursday, Tuesday event that happens. You are the local session. You
Yep.
know, the Black Hearts Garage session, the fucking Beast Camp
Mm-hmm.
Tuesdays, 818s, like DC Mondays. Like you got to have those so that
Those are
event
essential too. Yeah.
so me as an event planner for my state, I could be like, damn, I've been to this session. I drove up there. Hey,
Mm-hmm.
bro, you're buck. I got something coming up in 2 months. Would you be down to drive down? I can help you cover some gas because
Right.
that's within my fucking budget. I got the budget to give you $80 in gas, bro.
And
Can't pay you
release
for the
that
night.
too.
Yeah, like can't pay you. I'll give you per diem, get you in a hotel, you and your partners, you know what I mean? Whatever. And then there's the people who have the budget, who have the connections, and then hey, I'm
Right.
gonna throw a fucking NWO fucking national championship for the USA, bro. Now I'm talking to the state organizers, who's been
Right.
talking to the local organizers, who's been talking to the dancers who just want to dance. They don't want to do the organizing. They know
Yep.
their role. I'm the dancer,
Mm-hmm.
bro. I come here and dance. I don't handle nothing else. I can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, yes, abso-fucking-lutely. And then also to your point too, negotiating. You know, I think I mean shit, just hearing you, like people like you and all these other heads who come together with booking, like let's start getting kind of more of a uniformed idea of like, hey, this is what this should look like. Like if
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna be throwing these events, because I can't remember the name of the event, but they had these boys. I remember the girl got roasted, but like they had boys like packing up in hotel rooms. Some dudes were sleeping in
Oh my
closets.
goodness. This
You
I
know what
think
I'm talking about?
Colorado or something. I remember that event.
Yeah, that shit was funny. Like when I was reading through it, I was like, oh my God, this is insane.
It was
But like
bad.
to
I think
think
she
of,
disappeared after that too.
I haven't seen or even heard of that event. It went away, and usually we'll bring something up in the Crump group page, and
Yeah.
something that happened in the past is funny as fuck, but that has not been talked about.
Yeah. I think a lot I don't know if you remember the Dream Army
Oh yeah.
debacle where somebody wanted to put together like this lavish event with like the craziest battles and then like no one no one actually followed through with it. I think a lot of people are trying to like do Dream Army events and don't have the budget for it. And it's okay to like I said, just save up. And if you can't save up, GoFundMe's, fundraising. There's grants, they're a little harder to get, but you know, Herb's been doing his shit on like in the Midwest off of grants. Like,
Yep.
well, use your resources. Like I'm sure he has people that know how to write grants and like got them in, and now he's able to pay people and pay people well. So
Back a couple years ago, politicking on that level with the city and your city council members and that, people would have called that white people shit. So I think it is good to have some white friends. My friends, have them talk to those guys, bro. That's who. And find you a couple friends, even if they're not in the fucking community.
yeah,
Get some
network.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah. I call them the 3 C's. you either have the capital, you either have the connections, or you
Mm,
go and get yourself a fucking credit card. So that's going to help you run your event, bro. Like,
yeah.
and the credit card's not a good fucking
I
option.
was just gonna say, don't be telling crumpers to get credit cards. 'Cause I've seen some irresponsible shit out of crump,
Yeah, yeah, and
and
that
it's me.
is
I'm some crumpers too. I'm one of them. Like,
God. I remember fucking sitting at the gas tank making life decisions, like whole life choices. Like,
yeah,
I'm either going to go to this session or I'm going to hope that I don't get hungry for the next two
yeah,
fucking
it's
days,
gonna be
bro.
ramen noodles for like the rest of the week. Yeah,
Oh my god. But you
yeah.
know, when you love it, you love it. You
I
can't
was
really
just
you
gonna
can't really
say
help it.
it's real for some people. Like
Mm.
this shit is really like it's comforting. It's community. It's culture. It's home for some people. Like it's and I think that's what I'm trying to bring to my community. Like I think the community here is just kind of like it's yeah, like I'll dance when I want to and I feel like it, but like the new generation that we're all bringing in, I feel just have like this fire in them that they understand it a little more, that it's like, oh, this is something bigger than us. Like this feels bigger. And
Mm.
so like that's what I'm really excited for. But definitely have been in those situations where I'm like, should I go to this event? I mean, I would have money. I just wouldn't have a lot of it after it. It's it's tough, but you only live once. We're on a floating rock. Just sometimes plan for the future, and other times I'm like, uh, what's the future? So I'm always at a cross. It depends on how I feel that day.
Fuck it, we ball, bro. We're going. Let's hit it.
Yeah, no,
Uh,
that's
it-
so
and for especially my women out there and my men out there, we've been dealing with some interesting events over the last 72 hours. I mean, my whole experience in Crump has been weird, but in light of recent events, right? And we're talking about people's personal safety
yeah,
and sexual misconduct in
yeah.
our community. Call a spade a spade. And for you as a woman, right? One that travels, one that's
Mm.
here, there, doing podcasts with dudes. Okay.
Yeah.
You know, how what do you think? How do you see the community moving in a way that you ladies can be safe and feel safe amongst our presence?
One thing I will say is, although it seems like very closed off to the crumb community, women don't feel safe like anywhere.
Hmm.
Like this is not just a crump issue. It's not something that's going to be solved within crump because it hasn't even been solved everywhere else. There's workplace, like this shit happens in the workplace. This shit happens in other communities. It's not specific to crump. So I think women just have to. I try so hard to get familiar with the women in crump and just build a community within ourselves so that there is a safe space within the bigger community, so that if they do feel like they're in danger or they do feel like they're in an uncomfortable position, they can come to me or other women and just ask for help. And that's another reason why I advocate so much and I'm so loud, is so that women see it and they know, like, okay, I can probably go to her if some shit really goes sideways for me, so that
Mm.
they can see like people advocating, and it's not just taking a gamble on like, oh, she's a woman, she might understand, because some women are not as understanding.
Hmm.
And just like there are bad men, there are
Hmm.
weird women, like weird men, weird women.
Hmm.
It's not, it's just we see a lot more in men, but same way there are a lot of great women, there are a lot of great men in Crump. So it's a very vague and very complex issue, but I tell women to just find your circle and like just make sure it's a good one, because the world is just like it can be a good place, but it could be a cruel one too. So if once you downsize it to a community, that number gets smaller, but it's the same idea. A lot of good people, but a lot of bad people as well. Um, but for me, I feel safe in Crump because again, I know to keep my distance, and I think women in Crump, sadly, like they learn that as they go. Um, but it's always good to be that woman who's had that experience and be like, just be careful out there, type stuff. Um, I think the bigger issue is men being so preoccupied with what women do with their bodies more than anything. I
Hmm.
think that's the I think that's the more annoying pain for me, is like I'm such a buck dancer, but I know I have stuff said about me, and it has nothing to do with how, if I'm a danger to Crump or my skill or anything. It has something to do outside of that, and it's really annoying. But we're starting to learn. I think with this whole situation we went through, um, with Beast, is that you got to find the source, press the source. If you can't, shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm so tired of people putting it out there like, oh yeah, there's some of you in this group. Do you know that for sure? Can
Hmm.
you name them? They
Hmm.
don't say anything, because that's how this shit snowballs into something bigger. And
And it's the some of you. Who the fuck is some of you? Who's some of you, bro? Like, let's talk about it. Like, we are definitely God, I get really mad now when I think of it, because I called Sherweezy and I was like, my dog. Like, I was already
no,
having like some sidebar issue with him, and it was like, dog, like what the fuck?
yeah,
And like, bro, like I was seriously, like I told him, like, bro, I was seriously broke off with you. Like, I didn't even know what to think, how to, like, I have a daughter,
mm-hmm,
and he knows my son very well,
yeah,
and he loves his Uncle Sherwin. And so when you start seeing these posts of, oh, some of you, oh, someone, oh, their savior, it's like, bro, who y'all talking about? Like,
right.
let's call a spade,
It's
because
the subliminals that just like, if you're not gonna name names and open that can of worms, don't say it. Don't
if you
say
can
it.
make the
Just name.
allegation against someone that's about to open a can of worms, then let's get everybody involved here,
Yeah. And I
and
love I love how it was handled. Like Crush pressed the issue, Rowdy pressed the issue, and it was like we got it done. Like we
mhm,
got it done. And Sherweezy
mhm,
did the right thing and immediately started gathering receipts. Like, you as the accused, now the ball is in your court
the
to
burden of
really
proof.
prove this shit,
Mhm,
because now everybody's looking at you like, what happened? And it's such an unfortunate situation to be in, but you got to be on go mode. you
mhm.
gotta you gotta start reaching out to people that are gonna vouch for you, that were there, so that when people do ask, you're not just there like, well, believe what you want.
Mhm.
Guess what that's starting to look like?
I'm believing what I want, dog, and
Yeah,
you're looking
yeah,
mad guilty.
yeah. Like,
Mhm,
at the end of the day, it's such an irresponsible thing to do, to put that out there
mhm,
before confronting Beast and before getting facts, because even now, even just like a I heard can still do a lot of damage, because people will stop listening after the accusation, And then once everything's being cleared up, they don't care. Like they're off the live. They're like, oh, I heard this happen. I heard he did this and she did that. And like will not follow up. And
Yeah.
that's dangerous as well, because the damage is can still be done with certain individuals.
Hmm.
But
And I think the, and yes, I'm glad that people, no matter how long it took or whatever,
mhm,
people started to name names. People came forward, told
mhm,
what story was said. Other people came, because it is true, the accused has the burden of proof, and that is in a time like today is a little easier, but I couldn't imagine 40, 50 years ago when there was no cell phone screenshots and there was
yeah,
no, I can just text homie from the Philippines, or I
right.
can text homie from Russia, or wherever these
Yeah.
things are happening. And
Imagine
pub-
just like waiting on a letter.
oh my God, bro. I'm like,
Like
imagine.
like 8 to 14 business days. It'll be here. I'll clear it up.
Yeah.
That shit would drive me insane.
Oh my God. Just even like, hold on, let me get their fax number. Like,
Right.
bro, are you serious? I got to go to
Right.
Kinko's right now to fucking even get an answer to this question. This
Like
is insane.
that would be it's too much. But yeah, it's he did the right thing. He went straight to it, started calling people, started, went to the source, went to the girl. I heard he has her ID. So if anyone really like that's solid proof. Like you wanna know how old she was? Boom. Like
Oh my
it's
God.
and that's how it should be done. Like, you gather as much information as you can. Like where, Sherman was lucky to have a lot of parties able to vouch for him, and sometimes that's not the case, but you really gotta go hard for your image. Like that's your reputation.
Hmm.
And it did help, that his character was, also being considered. A lot of people have been around Sherwin. A lot of people know, his intentions, and have been around him and seen how he is as a person. So that kind of helped too. But you just got to be careful. You also got to consider, like, are you taking the precaution to to make this like never stick to you? You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Well, I also hope, and I was hoping to say this because I think you're like the third girl guest ever, and I don't think I've ever said this statement to any of them, but um, I hope any lady that watches this, you yourself, like there are men like myself, and I know a list of men who, if some shit goes down, like you guys can tell us like
Yeah.
immediately, and that's the best way to handle it. Like, especially with Sherwin and my dude Bless, like situations happen
Mhm.
and time passes, and then it becomes murky to try to even
Right.
like, where is this information at? Hold up. And now we're scrambling.
Yeah.
But if we handle it right then and there, we have all this, could be visual proof, this, or like we have banking records, motherfucker. Like, oh, I
Right.
have you on camera here. Like let's just nip it in the fucking bud before
Right.
people try to blame the 10 years
Yeah.
fucking anecdote,
Kinda
whatever,
invalidate it. Yeah.
and invalidate it. No. And us as men, bro, we cannot, well, I mean, stop being weird. First off, second, how
Tell the
about
truth.
we like, first off, let's just not be weird, bro. They're, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
But let's not make false allegations, my guys.
Oh,
Men.
and like with your chest too, like those statuses that I saw were like definite. Like they weren't like allegedly. They weren't. It was like your favorite is doing this. Like, oh, now look
Oh.
at y'all deleting posts. It's just
Hmm.
it's so irresponsible. It's so irresponsible. Um, and I do feel like Sherwin should have been, pressed. OG Beast should have been pressed before any of this should have hit the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Because even like, they try to drag Rex into it and be like, and supposedly your other favorite knows about it. Yeah, your other favorite also knows the backstory of it. Like
Mm-hmm.
it was dealt with. it was easily solvable. This was an easy explanation had people just asked
Mm,
Beast. You know what I mean? So them trying to bring Rex into it, being like, well, he knew about it. So did everybody else on those lives were like, yeah, I heard it. I heard something about this. And it's like, oh, so so we're just picking and choosing.
mhm.
It's I don't know. Everyone has their own agenda too. So I think it was said too that sounding like, people are getting targeted,
Mhm.
and I don't know if it's because the little weird shit that we're in right now, but it,
God, the current state of Crump is wild right now.
it'll pass though. We've been here before. We got out of it, and it's we just got to check on our people. I think that's what we've learned from the past is like just check on your people,
Mhm.
and like just make sure it's genuine. Like I'm not gonna go. I don't talk to Bless. I don't know Bless, so I'm not gonna be like, hey, bro, if you need a vent, like I'm here. He don't know me, but
Mhm.
I would hope that the people around him are checking in on him. Same thing
Absolutely.
with Sherwin. Rex has been consistently texting Sherwin, checking up on him, and that's all we can do. You just gotta that circle that I was talking about. Just make sure like you're being tended to.
Mhm.
Your people are checking in on you because that's why people left Crunk is because when weird shit like this happened, they didn't have that support system and they're just like I'm good, like I'm done, like this is not worth it. Like,
Mhm.
there's a lot of shit in Crump worth being in Crump. I love it so much. I love this shit so much. Like I can't imagine like not crumping unless I couldn't, you know?
Yeah.
And even then I'd still be around it. It's just a lot of the people let the weird shit get to them because they feel like that's all Crump has to offer them. But my community, my circle, I'm good. Like there's so many other things to really like hold on to.
Oh,
So I
yes.
think I think people just got to find that.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad you not only said that, but you said that you feel safe in Crump, and I'm
Mhm.
I'm
I
so
do.
glad to hear that. Because I have kids, and
Mm,
I matter of fact was on the phone with my son's mom earlier and was like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore.
yeah,
Like, I don't know if I want him around it. I don't know if I want my baby girl around it.
right.
Like, I don't like, is the risk worth the reward
Yeah,
anymore for me? And she even said, like just, maybe not hang out with those people. And I was like, kind of frustrated, like, it's not that simple. Like, it's not that fucking
yeah.
simple. Like, and it's like, no, it is. It really is. Make
It can
sure
be.
you're in the right crowds,
Yeah, it can
because
be.
for you to feel safe and to know that, okay, this isn't across the board. And that's what I do like about, some people are making sure that we're specific when we're speaking about certain things happening. They say it's not the community, it's not the community. It's like, okay, I'm trying to remember that right now. And
Yeah,
that is a staunch example, like with you right here. Is like,
yeah,
it's not the community. Here's this young lady from Toronto hanging out in fucking Buffalo, New York,
yeah,
traveling around, doing her
yeah.
thing,
I
being great
yeah.
at it. And
I don't walk around like scared. I don't have kids, so that's a totally different fear and like
mhm,
anxiety that I can't relate to. But I also know that if I did have children, I know who I would trust them with.
mm,
And I also respect, people that don't want to bring their kids around it because, you never know. But as a woman in that sense, like I still feel safe. I still feel like I have a good head on my shoulders. I know for some women it's harder to navigate spaces and they feel like, if they're in awkward positions, they feel like they have to, you know, go forward with something or do something. But that's why I advocate so strongly and so loudly that like I don't stand for that shit. Like I'm not gonna do that shit. So I just hope that I can be seen as somebody that is approachable and can can vouch for women. Like it's really that simple. I'm kind of a loud mouth, but it's
You are vocal. I will say that.
I don't regret nothing. I really don't. I just there's pushback, but I've had a lot of setbacks in my city that have prepared me for whatever Crump has to throw at me. Like I have fake pages all the time. Every time I do something for the community, fake page. Like
Mhm.
it's a running joke with Rex that like every time I throw something, I'll be like, just waiting on that fake page, and almost like clockwork, like there's a fake page. There's so much pushback, and I don't know if it's just because I'm a woman or it's because it's me, but I've always been the type that that gatekeeping shit doesn't work on me. Like
Mm.
I don't ask for permission to throw a session. Like that's been, you know, that used to be a thing out here is like you got to ask permission or you got to run it by so and so
Mhm.
to really see if we can do it.
Mhm. Get your
Me,
permission slip,
I
buddy.
don't
Nah.
I like and I really just even like traveling, like once I started traveling, people started treating me differently and I was just like, "Oh well." Like,
Mhm.
oh well, it's gotten me far, so it is
Oh,
what it
yeah.
is. But
And we all know how it goes, like, and especially in battles, you know? Like, I wanna beat you, and I'm gonna hurt your feelings more than likely when I do, and
right,
so
art,
whatever.
art imitates life. Like if I'm dancing the way I do, guess what you're gonna get in real life?
Absolutely.
That same type of attitude where I'm just like, what? Okay,
That's where the lifestyle, like, and that's one thing I had problems with choreo heads, you know,
mm,
especially with like choreo heads who started moving into crump, but weren't really picking up the culture. Where it's like, bro,
yeah,
you're trying to imitate something, and even if you do it well, like you're trying to imitate something though that you're not living. Like this is really
yep,
what some of these guys are every single day of their
yep,
life. I'm not telling you to move out your mansion. I'm not telling you to move
yeah,
out the suburbs. I'm not telling none of that. I'm not saying that.
yeah,
But come be a part of this culture. Donate your money to this
hmm,
culture along with your time, along with
hmm,
your attention and respect. Like respect what like don't come in here and like play a holier than thou. You know
hmm,
what I mean? Let's just take it in what it is, take it in what it's for,
yep,
and just understand that, you know, because some of you guys really live it. Like there is a lot of people who are buckheads who are just lit in like they're buck in life. Like that's just the
yeah.
weirdest way to say it, but it
No,
is.
I feel you. I feel you.
Oh
That's
my.
it, and like I always teach my students, like character should be an extension of you. Like it should
Mhm,
feel real and it should feel familiar. So, you know, if you are a shy person, show that in your crump. Like highlight it, make it bigger. And so that it feels like we're actually getting to know you. So that's why, you know, the crumpers that are really good at what they do, it's because like it's an extension of them. They know when they dance, they really like they've been there before. They understand that emotion or that essence because they've been there before or they go there.
mm,
So yeah, I feel like I don't know why people are surprised. Like I'm so, you know, vocal and I sometimes I don't give a fuck if you don't like that I'm throwing a session or organizing something. It's Crump. Like Crump waits for nobody.
ooh,
You either hop on that wave and ride it or you know, you wait for the next one. But dance is always gonna be there and it's always gonna move with or without you. So I
ooh,
think
absolutely. God
yeah,
damn.
yeah.
And
People wanna like just live in this I did this for Crump. It's like, okay, what are you doing now for Crump?
yeah, and you have a battle with Taminator coming up soon too, right? Or who are you? I'm
Trinity.
forgetting. Who?
Trinity. Yeah.
Trinity.
Yeah. At the
Ooh, I knew it was something with a T.
I knew it was something with a T.
Yeah. Hey, I be
Going
paying attention.
on the other side of it. Yeah, I'm excited for that battle. I really am.
Yeah, well, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing you dance, and that's why I definitely knew Knives was on a flyer. I was like, where was it? I was kind of searching around for a second before we
Yeah,
got on.
yeah.
Um, so that's coming up in April, right?
Yes,
Mhm.
April 19th to the 21st or 22nd.
How you
Yeah.
feeling about that?
I feel good about it. Honestly, I've been trying to tap in to like some new shit. Um, just because I feel for me, I just feel like I'm predictable to myself, and I don't like that feeling. I'm like, I feel like I know what I'm gonna do next, and I don't like that. I feel like my footage looks too similar to like 2 months ago, and I don't like that. So I'm trying to like tap into a new bag, and there's so much fun in that of just exploring and trying new shit out that I'm just like I'm excited. I really am. And I have like little homies, like new little homies who are just like also excited to crump, and I think that's like igniting my excitement some more because they just want to see me like be buck and do some cool shit. So it's just like this like tension building up that I'm really excited for. But yeah, Wasteland's gonna be a vibe for sure. There's gonna be like everybody's gonna be there.
Yeah, yeah, I'm really shout out Billy, my man Kill Bill. I'm going to be trying to get him if you're listening, bastard. I'm gonna try to get him on the fucking show. I love the energy he brings to to dance itself.
Yeah, it's so unserious.
Yeah.
He's
And
such an
there's
unserious person, but then like there's a serious like undertone to it. It's hard to it like he's rare. Like he's a rare one for sure.
and I will say that with most people, there's things that they say might not agree with you, dog,
Yeah,
but for the most part, I will always be able to say that Kill Bill specifically has always moved with an intention to bring more out of Crump, bring
yeah,
good into Crump, and just be good himself, like be a good person.
right.
And that I will always appreciate of him. I did the first Wasteland, and matter of fact, I battled Bless there.
Oh,
And I will never thank him enough for that, because I was just like, this is your first one. Like, we were rookies together. Like,
right.
I'm honored, bro. Like,
Yeah,
this is amazing. And then one of the students from Oxnard was there and performed in the tournament they had, and it
hmm,
was so cool. Like, it was such an experience, and my buddy still talks about that tournament to this day, and so that's a big impact that
yeah,
he's made on someone's life.
yeah.
Appreciate the fuck. Shout out Kill Bill, man. Shout out Kill Bill in the Wasteland. Y'all check it out. Um, and
Um,
I did want to ask, because I've been able to follow some of your work over the last few years.
right.
What would you say has been like a highlight moment for you in Crump?
Um, I've had several like highlight moments, like milestones in Crump that I'm really thankful for. But I think my most recent one would probably be like Desert Storm, like that Oxy battle, like really kind of brought me back to where I needed to be. Because I had just done Wasteland a couple months before that in
Mhm.
April, May, and that shit threw me off so bad. I was not good for like a month and a half. It was like one of those experiences that um, was really hard for me to like take in and kind of process um, because like at the time I was just so excited to battle, and then I just felt like I just don't like when I get asked to like be somewhere and then I don't feel like they wanted me there. It just felt like a very confusing experience for me, and it just kind of knocked me off a little bit. Like I was very unsure of myself. I was just in a really weird place with my crump. So Desert Storm was like a big deal for me because I just felt like it was a make or break moment of if I wanted to continue crump, or if I was just gonna like take a step back and really just kind of give myself some space from crump. And then, the battle just like went way better than I expected, and I was just kind of like, yeah, like that's like I'm here again. Like I needed that. So um that's probably like my most recent highlight to that's kind of started the wave that I'm on right now, that I'm still on. Yeah, it was a personal thing for me. Like I had nothing against Oxy. I actually hadn't even like met Oxy or spoken to him. So I was like, how am I gonna approach this battle? Because there's no beef, there's no like we're cool.
Nothing to grab on.
Nothing. I was just like I was grasping at straws, like, what do I do? But I think once I put myself in that mindset of like it's not about him, it's about finding myself again in that battle space, it just like it switched for me.
Mm.
So
So it was like that bounce back. It was like
it
to
felt
just
so
feel that
good.
bounce back.
It felt so good, just like just just like connecting again with myself, because I have felt like Knives and Monica were like two different people, just kind of like dancing in the air. But then like it just Desert Storm really brought me back to feeling like one entity, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, shout out to Oxy. That was a fun battle for me. And like a lot of people didn't expect it, which was like in your face. But I think it was Solo that said it. He was like, Fern's been here. Like she's not new. And I think a lot of people forget that. And I think I forgot that too, honestly. So after that battle, I was just kind of like, it kind of like reaffirmed, like, I'm not new to this. I've been here. I'm seasoned. So like, let's start acting like it. Which is
Nice.
hard too as a woman, because I feel like every woman is like born with imposter syndrome. We're just like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know much about anything, because I just feel like, the world teaches you that like you're just that mansplaining shit. It's real. I thought it was like a myth, but over the years, I'm just like, I didn't need to. I knew that already, but whatever. So, yeah, I think just like that. I just don't think men will ever understand that there's like a blanket of doubt that all like that obstacle is already there for women. So it's a lot harder to really tap in. And I'm just speaking personally. I always say like I wish I had the confidence of like a mediocre man. Like
Yes, the boldness. Yes.
yeah, it's just like some men like they just they're like, okay, so confident, but yet
I've seen it. I've seen it in the wild.
yeah.
Like,
There's
whoa,
don't
dog.
get me wrong. There's a lot of great male dancers, but I've seen some mid ones with a lot of confidence, and I'm like, I just wish I could be there. I wish I was where you're at, like So I'm working on it.
Because you definitely move. You definitely dance like you're 6'2". So
A lot of people were like, I didn't think you were this short.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
like, oh shit. She,
the
it's like
demeanor
she's the size
there.
of LeBron James over here, dude. Let's
Yeah,
go.
yeah. A lot of people think I'm taller from footage.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's the attitude. I don't know if it's just the angle, but I am 5'2".
Yeah. Oh yeah. So if people who don't know Knives or haven't seen her,
Right.
she is short.
I'm short.
Yeah. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. I'm in the 5 foot club. Um,
And that's okay.
and listen, before we sign out, I want to say thank you. Like this was probably one of the healthiest conversations I've ever had with a crumper, like of substance
Yeah,
and something to like really. I'm gonna rewind it and make sure I listen to it 2 or 3 times through, because there was a lot you said. So thank you very much.
thank you for having me. Honestly, like um, I'm always like so grateful to
Mhm.
have for people to like want me on their platforms because I talk and I advocate, but that's on my own. That's like on my own little social media. So when you reached out, it's an honor to be here and just chop it up with you.
Yeah, and you know, well, thank you, but yeah, no, reading your stuff and seeing your work, I think it's also important, and I think this is kind of where my role is going to start being in Crump. Even though I love battling and I love everything that comes with it, I
Mhm.
just feel that the forum is a good space for us to communicate, but it just does a poor job of being detailed on complex issues.
Yeah.
and and I would love for us to have these conversations on complex issues.
Mhm.
How do women feel safe? What do we do
Right.
about, what does this feel like? And talking about battles and
Mhm.
these moments that mean, because you could watch the footage, but like you said, no one knows the bounce back. No one knows, like,
Yeah.
this isn't just a battle. This is her bounce back because there
Right.
was X, Y, and Z that happened. Or like I remember stepping on stage and just being like, "Yeah, this is gonna suck." Like I can feel it. Like I feel it. My feet gripping the ground. Like, yeah, I'm about to suck right now. Like I've
Oh
laughed
my god. I know
all
that
month.
feeling though. Like sometimes you're just like, damn it.
Like fuck. That music turns on and you're just like, man, no way. This is not
Yeah.
happening. This can't be. This happens in practice,
Right.
but this is happening right now. This
Right.
fucking sucks. You just
Yeah.
bomb and you bomb, and then there's other nights you just kill,
Mhm.
and everything you do is right. And so for you to even kind of, I didn't realize, like, because that battle between you and Oxy was so lit, and because I'm a fan of both of you guys,
Right.
and so I'm gonna watch it again right now, but I did not realize the implications behind that. So it's going to
Oh
give me
yeah.
some substance,
Yeah.
and maybe we could do this after Wasteland. Yeah, we'll maybe chat up about your experience at Wasteland in
Yeah,
that battle.
yeah. I'm curious to see because like honestly, my beef with that is like, and Rex is more vocal about it than me, but like DC hype when they're not hyping DC members is very like,
Hmm.
and you're just there like it just threw me off. It threw me off. Like watching people that were just hyping me the day before, at a session, just like kind of blank stare, threw me off. It was a different experience in Crump that it was a moment, it was a learning moment for me that
Hmm.
I know how to navigate now. But I got in my feelings. That hothead in me came out. I was like, I just didn't even want to dance anymore. I wanted to fight. And I didn't even know who I wanted to fight. I just had like all this like pent up like, ooh, like I want me here or what? Like I just it's there it was there's learning moments all over Crump, like
Hmm.
from spectators to dancers to organizers, everybody at all times, like there's learning moments everywhere. So I think it's just pinpointing what the learning moment is, because if you don't look for it or if you don't acknowledge it, you're not going to be better. And like for me, I always want to be better. So I know I could have chucked that up as like, oh yeah, like I was just feeling really crump and like, my crump just doesn't like when people don't hype me. Or I was like, damn, I have to know how to navigate spaces where people just are gonna try to throw me off. And so
Hmm.
that's what I did. I went back home. I was like, next session, I don't want nobody hyping me. And just to get into that mindset of like, it's not about that. It's not about that. So, but yeah, that bounce back was super personal for me and super important. That I'm just happy it went the way it did, and like I showed up for myself.
Yo, that hits home. That hits home because even me being on the road and then traveling home to Cali, I've became a stranger at the Beast Camp sessions.
Mm,
Like the fam knows me, but these people who are now the regular casual Beast Camp Tuesdays, it's like, motherfucker, I've been here since it was invite only. Like,
right.
why aren't you hyping me, bro? Like, I
Mm,
just hopped up off a plane right now to
mm,
be here. Like, what y'all doing, dog? Like,
mm.
why are you what? Like,
I,
what are you doing right now, bro? Like, hold
yep,
on. But then it's been also making me check myself to where it's like, they're new here, bro.
they gotta, yeah, you gotta get familiar with them and vice versa. It's like,
I hold one of the names that rep this session. Like, y'all's
right,
new. Like, you're
right,
new here, bro. Like take this in. Like,
right,
don't hype. Just focus. Let your eyes
right,
focus on
right.
me. Don't move
I
a
feel
muscle. Don't,
you.
what is it? Uh, what is it when you lose one sense, the other ones become heightened. So
Heightened, yeah.
don't move, don't talk, barely even listen, bro.
Yeah,
Don't barely even listen. Just watch this shit because this
yeah,
is about to go down.
yeah.
I've been. Oh, that makes me want to get into the lab right now. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Nice. Thank you
No,
so
but
much.
I feel you. Like, and that's that ego talking. Like, what?
Mhm,
What
mhm.
you don't think that was buck? Like, you don't think that was crazy?
Yep.
But at the end of the day, like, it's you got to understand the why behind it. Like, I was battling a DC member. They wanted their team to win, so they instead of battling one person, I was battling a whole group. And I'm like,
Mhm.
you know what? If that's how y'all want to do it, I either never come to a wasteland again, or I just know that I know what to expect next time. So
Yep.
like, and I think with you just acknowledging that, like, it's not me personally, it's just we got to get familiar with each other, because that's really what it is. They could just be studying you. They could just be like, I've never seen him before. Like, he's so tight. And,
Mhm.
we're taking it as like, you don't think I'm
Hmm.
up?
Yeah. Like what
Well,
the?
I'm not doing shit. So it's like a learning moment where you're just like, what is it? What could it be? And like, what am I gonna make out of it? Even if it is them hating, I'm gonna make it that they just got to get to know me. Like that's that's my lens here. Is like, I got to get familiar with them. They got to get familiar with me. Am I hyping them? Am I standing there like, what you got? So it's
Yeah.
it's
Oh
it's
my
those
god.
reflection moments that why I love Crump. Like, it makes me a better person in the dance and outside the dance. So
Yeah, there's so much that I've realized um, just over the years of dancing through choreography,
mm,
learning crump, and like there's so much that we're forced to learn how to do. Just it's not only saying I'm gonna pick up these motions and learn these motions, but then now I'm gonna create motions of my own. And
mhm,
now, there's shit I like to dance in. So even that starts to become refined. Like, no, I'm not going to crump unless I have my SBs on, bro. Like I ain't fucking with y'all right now. Like,
listen,
you know,
I don't crump without my hat.
yeah,
That's
hats, bandanas. God, I used to love dancing in this leather vest I used to have. It was like an
ah,
old leather vest. That was my shit. I could
yeah,
get
let's
off in that.
go. I'd be like, no vest. Sorry,
No,
guys.
guys
Can't do it.
can't do it. But guys,
Yeah.
oh my God,
We're valid though.
listen, Fern, I'm gonna let you get up off of here. Um, is there any knives gem of the day, word of the wise, apple of thought? Is there anything you want to leave with the community before we decide to sign out?
Honestly, I said pretty much all I needed to say. I'm not I'm not big on like just one sentence and I'm like, boom, signing
Mm.
off. That's so much. Like, I'm sweating right now. Just like, oh my god, what do I say? Um,
It could be
so
anything.
I think no, I think for me, like, is just it's something that's been said over and over again, but just find your purpose in crump so that you feel comfortable in it. So when crazy shit happens, you're like, this is not why I'm here.
Mm,
And the Crumpers page is just a big group chat
yeah.
of just the same people. Like, there's 7,000 members, but it's always the same, like 50 people. So it's just a group chat.
Hmm.
That's all it is. There's so much outside of that page that, you know, focus on that.
Hmm.
Focus on the events happening and all the good stuff happening. It's out there. Share some footage. We'll be okay. We're gonna be all right. We're gonna
Yeah,
be all right.
we'll
It's
be
okay.
okay. We'll
Yeah,
be okay.
yeah.
Thank you so much, Knives.
No, thank you. This was so much fun. Yeah, hopefully we can tap back in after Wasteland, and I'll let you know how everything went.
Yeah, I will be watching. I'm going to try maybe to fly there. It's just I got a tight schedule. But
Listen,
I hope you do well. I hope you have fun, and I will be on the lookout for it.
thank you so much. I appreciate it. Enjoy
Hell
your
yeah.
weekend, and
You too.
to everyone that tuned in, thank you so much. It's Knives Up, and
All right. I'll send you a message right now.
all right, take care.
All right, later. Yo, that was Knives. Knives, the wonderful. Oh my God, that was good. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Everyone who's tuned in, listen, Rugged, I see you in here. Monk, I seen you earlier. Everybody who's going to tune back and listen to this, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm a fan. I think she's very outspoken a lot of times, right? And like I said earlier, there's stuff I don't agree with, and there's stuff I do agree with, and that's the beauty of having these conversations with people and learning to have discourse. The one thing I've respected is that she's always stood up for and stood on what she believes in, and I think that's so admirable. I think it's I think it's a real thing when you have somebody who can say something out there into the community, put it out there, and really, 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 really stand on it. Oh, Knives, I see you, girl. What's cracking?
I was
What's
like,
happening?
what just happened? I was like, what just happened? I'm so
Oh,
I'm so
no, you're
sorry.
good. You're good. I'll send you a message right now. Do you got anything else for the peoples?
No, enjoy it.
All right.
Take care.
Oh yeah. First repeat guest on the same stream. She popped back in here because she's seen I was still talking. That's so funny. Oh my god. She's a good cat. Yeah, and I hope she does good at Wasteland. Shout out Kill Bill. Shout out everybody from the Wasteland. Um yeah, I'm gonna have this up in a jiffy, and I hope you guys enjoy. I hope you have a good day, week, month, year in life. As always, this is Big Corpse. See you on